So, welcome back. It's been a while. I think it's been about 2 weeks, but we're back today. So, I thought we'd have another little look at planning, a little bit more specific around our weekly plans. I put that stuff together. So, let's have a quick look at what are we doing. So in the last little video, I had a little bit of a look at how I put together my season plans, backwards from my ultimate goal date, the race date, and how we go backwards and dividing the season up into our macro cycles, and then dividing those up into mesocycles. Okay, so today I thought I'd have a look at the next little block down, which is our microcycles. Microcycles can be anything from 4 to 8 days long, really. But for ease sake, what I tend to do is think about microcycles as week cycles. Okay, so that's what we're going to have a look at. This is where we left off the last time. This is this season now. This is the season that hopefully we'll be starting on the 19th of August. And they got the start date up here at the top, 19th of August. Red dates in the cycle are test dates, which I tend to pencil in, see how they fit. Blue dates up at the top are camps. Green is competitions. The end of cycle 1 we have Irish short course, so we'll plan a short race prep phase into that. Blue bars are approximate volumes. Red bars, the color coding is really more about the type of work rather than the intensity of work. So green is endurance. Yellow would be more power. The red would be more race specific stuff. Okay, so as we move from aerobic into race specific, it goes more red. Like I say, it's not really about intensity as such. So the next step would be in our weekly blocks to sit down and decide how many of each type of work we plan to put into each week. So we got our base aerobic capacity, okay, long steady state stuff, which can include threshold. It can include just regeneration work. Okay, so I have to decide how I want to put that together. Then what I call aerobic capacity 1, which is the front end of it spiked with anaerobic capacity. Aerobic capacity 2, which is the front end of it spiked a little bit with aerobic power. Then we've got anaerobic capacity and speed work. We've got aerobic power and anaerobic power, and aerobic power and competition, anaerobic power and competition. Okay, so we would put in just numbers. I'm not really sure what I'll be doing in here, but it'll look something like this. Not putting any of that in. I try to put a little bit of speed work in right from the beginning. So my first week might look like that. Sets of each type of work. Okay, so let's have a little look at something a little bit more specific around the weeks. Okay, so this is the little spreadsheet that I use to plan my weeks. So it was a bit of a game changer for me, because it allowed me to have a look at how each week related to the previous 6 weeks, and make sure that in terms of the external load that we as coaches are applying to our athletes, that we weren't suddenly increasing it to a point where injury became a problem, or reducing it to the point where adaptation became an issue as well. Okay, so it's very simple. It's just an Excel calculation on duration and RP. So my weeks start on Wednesday, so it's Wednesday through to Tuesday, and these are all populated by little drop-down menus of the energy systems or classifications that I use. And I just run through the weeks. All right, this week is, as an example, is starting on the 13th of November, 2019. And it was the last week of loading, I think, before we went into our race preparation phase, going into the European short course for Danielle and Connor. Okay, so all I do is put in what the plan is in each session. So you see Wednesday, we've got just a basic aerobic capacity session in the morning, 100 minutes of activity, perceived rate of exertion. From my point of view, I estimate it to be about 5, 4, 5. And I do that all the way through the week. The S&C sessions are in, and the rate of perceived exertions are approximations, what I think it's going to be. Okay, and then whenever the athletes report back to me, they tell me what the actual rate of perceived exertion was, and I put that into their sheet, their reporting sheet. Okay, so I'm anticipating this week's load, total load, to be 5,270 in that vicinity, which gives me this blue bar here. Okay, now the previous 6 weeks, these gray bars are the actual load that the athlete has reported in the previous 6 weeks. So as we can see, this week was around the same as the previous week. There was a very slight increase. Okay, the little bars at the side show week to week building. Red is a reduction, so you can see here there was a reduction in load. Green is an increase in load. All right, the last one at the bottom is a ratio between acute and critical loads. Okay, and this really just helps me make sure I keep this in and around 100 to 110, somewhere in that sort of vicinity. So you can see we do not a bad job in there. The other thing that we have in here are these little dotted lines. All right, and that's plus or minus 50%. All right, and my goal is, until we go into taper, until we go into race prep, is to keep them, all the bars, inside those 50% plus or minus. Because anecdotally, I'm not a sports scientist, but anecdotally, I think that helps me to be aware that I'm not increasing load too much, and that I'm not reducing load too much. I'm not risking adaptation when I don't want it, and I'm not risking injury, which I never want. Okay, the last cool little bit on this is these red dots. So these red dots represent previous race preparation phases. All right, the loading into previous races, and I have those saved on the spreadsheet. So if we look at Danielle's race prep in the Commonwealth Games, it looked like this. That wasn't me. That was in Australia. Someone else carried that out. And we can pick Irish long course, Summer Nationals 2019. You see how the load looked like it into the last weeks, and then I can have a look and see what it looks like in this block. So make sure that I know what works. I know that Irish Summer Nationals 2019 worked really well. I know now that European short course worked really well. All right, and I can look back on previous Ulsters, for example. I can look back and see what worked, and I can compare and contrast the training loads into those meets. So it's just a really short one today. That's kind of how I do this. All right. I think the next little video I want to do is on the internal loading. And I don't think that previously I put enough emphasis on the internal loads that we put through the athletes, and I think that might be something worth looking deeper into. But again, this is what works for me, all right? And it's just some ideas. I found it massively beneficial to track this way the external loads that we're putting through our athletes. All right, I found it massively beneficial knowing what has worked in the past in terms of the loading, and what potentially will work whenever we come towards the future. Okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it today. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow, like the videos. If you want more content, then share them around, and let's get this going. All right. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you later.